That northern Mindanao, for the world stand and now we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangalan natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, halitan na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Dapat Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, BigaTEN DepEd, BigaTEN DepEd.
Thanos! Sakay mo ako! Thanos!
Pipigil ni numan Maaabot lahat ng iyong inaasam Kasi
The unseen enemy crept like a thief in the night, smizing cunningly at people in their sleep, and one morning took hostage of humanity by surprise as the coronavirus pandemic continues to spread its ferocious rampage the world over. COVID-19 took the different sectors by storm, and education was no exemption.
COVID-19 pandemic shocks the world. We didn't see this coming. We were caught unaware. This has created the new normal, and we have to embrace it by addressing the challenges it brings.
Determined to pursue the delivery of education amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, Deped Region 10 launched its banner program dubbed as RX Adobe.
The Department of Education, Northern Mindanao, has crafted its learning continuity plans under the banner program RX Adobe, which stands for Region 10 Alternative Delivery of Basic Education. It underscores the alternative delivery modes under the remote teaching and learning. The 14 schools division offices of the region have crafted the learning continuity plans anchored on RX Adobe.
Always ready for education emergencies, Deped Region 10 will continue its tradition of excellence in delivering its services anchored on the department's Sulong Edukalidad program.
As we pivot from access to quality, we have to consider a well-developed curriculum, improved learning environment, upskilled teachers, and take into consideration responsive multi-stakeholders cooperation. All these and more are under the program Sulong Edukalidad. But on top of this all, still health and safety are the number one concerns of the Department of Education, especially at this time of pandemic.
Serving with a heart.
Leading
With a heart. Envisioning with a heart.
Straight from the heart of Deped Region 10.
education must continue.
Maayong adlaw kanatong tanan. Ako si Ramon Gonzalez Abrera, aka Deped Paulo, ang inyong Public Affairs Unit Lead Officer. Partner,
Yes, partner. Ako sab si Kanis Racoma, ang inyong rakista.
ayan, parang nagkakaroon yata ng problema si partner ah. Siyempre, kami ang inyong kasaligan, kadangpan, ug siyempre kadeped dinhi sa BigaTEN DepEd atin to. Isang masaya, mapayapa at masaganang araw po sa ating lahat mga kadeped. Ngayon po ay ika-29 ng Marso at bago magtapos ang pagdiriwang natin ng buwan ng mga kababaihan, pahabol po muli Happy Women's Month. And syempre, tingnan natin kung nandyan na sige partner. Partner, nandyan ka na ba? Kumusta ang buhay-buhay natin dyan? Ano ba ang pinagkakaabala natin dito sa
Hindi ako
rehiyon?
sigurado, partner. Pero, check ko muna. Nakikita mo na ba ako, partner?
Yan, siya, yan. Narinig na kita, partner. Ano bang
Okay.
pinagkakaabalahan
Ayan,
natin
partner,
sa
maraming
feeding
salamat
update?
ulit sa inyong pagbati sa aming lahat ng
Yes, go on, partner.
Eto partner, abala tayo dito sa regional office, lalong-lalo na ang ating mga chiefs at supervisors na abala sa pagmumonitor sa ating mga napiling paaralan at pagbibigay ng technical support or assistance sa ating mga schools para sa nalalapit na Program for International Student Assessment or our PISA. Ano ba itong PISA, partner? Actually, itong PISA ay isang assessment ng educational system ng mga bansa at sa taong ito ay naisa na nating itaas ang ating ranking sa PISA na ito, partner. So good luck sa ating mga mag-aaral na sasabak sa eksaminasyon na ito, partner.
Tama ka dyan, partner. And hopefully, this year, maganda yung performance ng ating mga napiling paaralan at syempre ng ating mga mag-aaral. Eto, partner, pakita lang natin ha. Meron tayong activity ngayon ongoing via Deped Philippines. Ano ba ito, partner? Partner? Ayan, happening right now is the Education Forum series focusing on the theme addressing the challenge of education quality to serve as a platform to inform, discuss, and refine reform initiatives and coordinate further action, partner. Ito yung episode na nangyayari ngayon streamed live on official Facebook page, YouTube channel, and website of Deped Philippines. At saka inimbitahan niya lahat tayo yung mga ka-Deped na magtanong base doon sa mga ibinabahagi sa programang ito. Partner! Nako, nawawala si
Yes,
partner.
partner. At syempre, ayan, nakabalik na ulit ako. At tuloy pa rin ang mga paghahanda ng ating mga sangay sa buong rehiyon. Yes, lalong-lalo na ang mga eskwelahan tungkol sa expanded face-to-face classes.
Tama ka dyan, partner. At pag sinabi nating mga paghahanda, marami tayong dapat isaalang-alang alinsunod sa ating DepEd Memorandum 71-2021 kung saan nakalahad sa School Safety Assessment Tool o SSAT ang mga pamantayan sa pagpapatupad ng expanded face-to-face classes. Kasama na rin, partner, ang shared responsibility, alternative work arrangement, classroom layout and structure, school traffic management, protective measures, hygiene practices, at safety procedures, at syempre marami pang iba, partner.
Yes, partner. At syempre, isang bagay na hindi natin dapat ipagwalang bahala ay ang kalusugang pangkaisipan o mental health ng ating mga mag-aaral, guro at ng lahat ng katulong sa pagpapatupad ng isang ligtas, masagana at makabuluhang expanded face-to-face classes.
That's right, partner. Ang lahat ng ito at marami pang iba ating pag-uusapan dahil dito sa Kagawaran ng Edukasyon Region 10. Partner?
Tuloy na tuloy ang edukasyon at eduaksyon sa bagong ngayon. Ito ang BigaTEN
BigaTEN
DepEd.
Eto, partner, for the win, Depd NorMin mula sa halos 30 kalahok, 12 ang kwalipikado at maaaring magkamit ng Gawad Dalumat Best Science School-Based Student-Led Publication. Dalawa sa kanila ay mula sa Region 10. Direct, pwede natin pakita yung photo nila. Dalawa ang kwalipikado dito na maaaring maging ultimate winner. Ang Misamis Occidental National High School, Oroquieta City. Direct, nandyan ba yung photo? Pakita natin. Kasama na rin siyempre ang Maigo National High School, Lanao del Norte. Ayan po. Partner, anong nangyayari? Ayan.
Challenge
Sila lang
ata
naman
tayo
yung
ngayong
dalawang,
umaga na to,
sangay
partner.
or paaralan na nakapasok sa finals mula sa Region 10. Abangan natin sa iInvent PH page ang pagtatampok sa mga napiling kalahok. Partner,
Yes, partner. Okay lang yan kahit walang picture, partner. Basta alam na alam natin na nanalo tayo. Ayan. At para
sige, sige.
naman sa 2022 National Robotics Coding Camp and Competition, wagi rin ang Rehiyon 10. So congratulations to teacher coach Christy Sagarino for winning the gold medal. Also awarded with bronze medals are Lord Aaron J. Villaruz, Antonio Tomas D. Luisma, Pia Marie C. Nuneza, and Chris Jefferson M. Mina. Kasama rin bilang mga kalahok ay sina Natalie Sheena B. Mainar at Maria Erica C. Codesar. Once again, congratulations and thank you for raising the Deped NorMin flag, partner.
Ayan. Sige. Pakita natin mamaya yung pictures.
Ayan, partner, live na ba tayo ulit?
Yes, live na live, partner.
Ayun. So just like what we promised earlier, ladies and gentlemen, today we will discuss our teachers and learners' mental health in line with our preparations for the expanded face-to-face classes. And joining us today, we have Dr. Richard Dragon, Dr. Richard Dragon, our regional nurse, and Dr. Joanne Cañeda, the registered guidance counselor from the Schools Division of Iligan City. Good morning, Doc Richard, and good morning, Doc Joanne. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Deped Paolo, and good morning, Deped Rada. We are glad to be here this morning's episode of our BigaTEN Deped Region 10.
Okay. Good morning also, Deped Rada and Deped Paolo. It's my pleasure to be part of this activity hosted by Deped Region 10.
Ayan, good morning po sa inyong dalawa. Now, diretso na tayo sa ating question and answer kasi medyo interesado din ako dito sa ating topic for today. Now, unahin na po natin si Doc Richard. Now, Doc Richard, why is there a need for our learners and also our teachers to be mentally and psychosocially prepared? O ano ba itong psychosocially prepared bago to sa pandinig ko? Especially that we are moving toward the expanded face-to-face classes.
Okay, thank you, Deped Rada, for that. That's a very good question. That's a very good introductory question for our topic this morning, because we have started already our limited face-to-face classes. And if we are to talk about mental health, that includes the totality of the mental well-being of a learner. And actually not just our learners, but as well as our parents and our teachers who are frontline implementers of our education services. So the term psychosocial is new to you, but actually that is a basic term referring to when we are talking about the mental wellness together with the social wellness of a learner. So when we say psychosocial, they are able to adapt with the challenge of the new normal, but at the same time, they also know how to interact with others. So when we say they would be learning physically and face-to-face, there would be interactions with other learners, interaction with their teachers. So the question is, are they prepared for that? Do they have anxieties, and is it stressing them? Because for us adults, we can be very excited for these events because we missed the face-to-face interactions. But for the young learners who are very vulnerable to such stresses and anxieties, that could be a challenge to them. And there is a need for us to reinforce their psychosocial well-being, especially that we are transitioning to the limited face-to-face, and though it's still limited, but they're actually trying to venture into getting back into how it is to really learn physically. that their teacher is really existing physically in front of them. Thank you, Kadeped, Rada.
Ayan. Now, Doc Chard, you mentioned about psychosocial support activities. When are these psychosocial support activities conducted, and up to how many days shall they be done ideally po?
Thank you, Kadep and Paolo, for that. You know what? Basically, we'd like to base it on our DepEd issuances. If you'd like to ask for the basis, why do we have to do this? Aside from the fact that it's really necessary, but are we mandated to do so? Yes, we have a joint memorandum circular for that. Joint memorandum circular number 1, series 2021, tells us the operational guidelines on conducting the psychosocial support and mental health support for our learners that are included in our implementation of the limited face-to-face classes. So with that, it has been advised, based also on our experts, that during the first week of the class, most of the activities should really be attributed and should really be focusing on psychosocial activities. That's to make them aware that this is the new normal, to set their expectations, to set their reality that this is a new reality, nganong dili tanan. Bakit hindi lahat ng classmates nila ang nagre-report? Bakit sila lang muna? Among the 20, why are there only 10 of them? What were the qualifications? They have to be made aware of that, because facts should be stated for them to be accepting the reality and for them to really have a good mind setting. Yes, KDEPED, again, going back to your question, it's the first week, but it could run 1 to 2 weeks from the first day of their class, but depending on the adjustment of the learners. Because if we think that it's already the third week pero meron pa rin problema, nakikita pa rin natin na bakit ang learner na ito hindi pa rin nag-i-interact. So that could be, that is why we have those psychosocial packs, support packs, because these are our tools. This will capacitate our teachers in the field na ma-measure natin kung meron bang problema. Ma-assess natin if the learner is still stressed, is still adjusting with is still anxious, or is the learner ready already for the entire learning course. Thank you, Kadeped Paulo.
Ayan. Yes, partner. So kasi nga naman, ang daming changes, ang daming mga pagbabago. So we really need to process not only the thoughts or the feelings of our students, but also of our teachers. Now, Dr. You mentioned earlier about these packages or yung package. Ang alam ko lang na package yung galing sa Lazada or galing sa Shopee. Pero ngayon, ibang package ang pag-uusapan natin. Now, Dr. ang pagkakaintindi ko is that we have a prototype guide in conducting this mental health and psychosocial support service, or the MHPSS, or this package. Now, ito bang package na ito ay pwedeng i-deliver or implement ng kahit na sinong teacher, or can our teachers be capacitated to do this?
Yes, that's a good question, Kadep and Rada. When we are talking about a prototype, it's a guide actually. So for us to have a uniform implementation of this, we are guided with, let me take a look with my notes for me not to be mistaken with it, because this involves numbers. From the Office of the Undersecretary for Administration memo, numbered 0011210125, it's a dissemination of psychosocial activity pack for schools participating in the pilot implementation of limited face-to-face learning modality. Dated last November 8, 2021, there should be a uniform implementation on the conduct of the mental health and psychosocial support services activities. So with that, in fact, they will be capacitated on April 7, that's going to be next week. There would be a capacity building for that, for all of them. And the content of the psychosocial support pack will be discussed in detail. So they will know, because you know what, I also have a copy of the psychosocial support pack. It's very understandable. It's just that, of course, teachers would be asking, how could I contextualize this one into my grade level? So if they are also to ask, sir, is it for all grade levels? No, the available psychosocial support pack that we have is only intended for kinder to grade 1, 2, and 3, and then our senior high school. While we are also preparing already for the rest of the psychosocial support modules or packs for the rest of the grade levels, which we consider to be doing also their limited face-to-face right after if we have the smooth implementation of our pilot implementation. So that's it, Deped Rada. Yes, we have a psychosocial support pack. We have a standard on that. We disseminated copies of that into the 14 schools division offices in Region 10.
Ayan, thank you very much, Doc Chard. Babalikan po namin kayo, Doc Chard, ha? In the meantime po, kakausapin natin si Doc Joanne. Ayan, Doc Joanne.
Yes po.
It was
Good
mentioned earlier,
morning.
no? Yeah,
Yes po.
yung mental health and psychosocial support service. Now, Doc Joanne, what are these? Do we have guides or tips that we can observe or follow, especially for our teacher facilitators in conducting psychosocial activities during especially during the expanded face-to-face session po?
Okay, thank you for that question, Kadeped Paulo. Actually, I do believe that the success of the conduct of the psychosocial support activities to our learners during the limited face-to-face session that we will be conducted lies in the hands of the teachers who will act as a facilitator. So, basically, it is very important in order to draw out the real psychosocial or psychological state or emotions of our learners, we need to be reminded, especially the teachers who will be facilitating the psychosocial activities, to really go into deeper the experiential learning requirements. It doesn't necessarily an expert, but of course, the facilitator should know how the answers, or rather focus on what the learners can find in regards to the answers of the different module objectives or activities. So facilitators likewise are expected to have certain competencies that they need to acquire, such as first and foremost, we need to consider their mastery of the program design or the modules, as what Sir Richard or Dr. Richard have mentioned a while ago. We have a prototype, but this one, the teacher facilitator who will be conducting the psychosocial activities need to master the program design, and as much as possible, they need to adjust depending on the environment, the available resources, and the nature of the learners that they will be dealing to. Especially that they need to familiarize really on how to go through the modules or the objectives, the activities, para na-smooth nga transition or pag-deliver sa certain activities. Second, aside from mastery of the program design, the facilitator or the teacher need to have an active listening skill, which is very basic in terms of facilitating. Listening, for instance, as to the content, clarifying whatever statements that will arise or ma-raise sa ato ang mga students in response to their answers, no, for that specific activity, and also reflecting the feelings, meaning to say a sort of interpreting what the persons might be feeling at that particular activity, because we are trying to deal with the real emotions or the state, the mental health state of our learners, especially nga 2 years na ta nga we are in these trying times or pandemic. So perhaps a lot of emotions ang ma-experience sa atong mga learners as they in the journey in this expanded limited face to face that the DepEd is conducting. The third thing that a facilitator, a teacher facilitator should consider also is integrating in terms of how many of the learners do have the same kanang response or emotions na ilahang gipagawas. For example, as they conduct the activity, it came out or ni draw out na a lot of the learners are still feeling anxious, worry or fear during the conduct or during the onset of the pandemic until this time. Although makita na to adjusted gamay ang learners, but on the process of facilitating the activities, the series of activities, the teacher facilitator should be able to integrate all the responses, the common responses or emotions that has been brought up by the learners para on the process itself, she or he can facilitate well sa activity. And the fourth one is we need to observe also the process observation analysis. We have to encourage our students, though limited, dili man tanan in a certain class, like for instance sa our school here in Iligan City National High School, we have students na per class 50, 40, or 50 up. So with a limited face-to-face nga gikandak nato, we only cater 15 students. So since they are only 15, the teacher facilitator who will be conducting psychosocial activities must encourage each of the students or the learners to participate in the activity. So i-consider din na siya during the discussion. And also, pinaka-importante, the most but not the least, is we need to create an atmosphere of unconditional acceptance and support to our learners, showing them the respect every time they share their opinions, ideas, or emotions, so that they would feel accepted nga okay ra di ay mo open up ko. So mag-build jud ta og trust and rapport sa atong mga learners if we are going to facilitate the psychosocial activities that we will be having, no. So we should not we should encourage our learners also na there are no right or wrong answers with the response, kay they are entitled to that, considering the individual differences that we have and how we respond to certain situations. Magvary gihapon na siya, no, sa atong personality type and the upbringing that we have with our family and the environment. So kana lang siya ang pinaka-basic nga i-remind sa atong mga teacher facilitators ka DepEd Paulo.
Partner, parang nakamute ka, partner.
Ayan. Okay na ba, direct? Ayan, how about that, partner?
And partner, naririnig ka na namin. Partner, parang feelings ka lang, pinaglalaruan ka. Nakamute ka ulit.
Nakamute. Nakamute.
Mukhang direct, kailangan natin magtawag ng interpreter, please. Kasi hindi natin naririnig si Ka-DepEd Paulo. Ayan, Ma'am Joanne, sa mga nakwento mo kanina, mukhang madugo at mapapalaban talaga ang ating mga teacher facilitators sa pag-implement at sa pag-deliver ng mga packages na ito. Pero I'm very sure naman that they have been capacitated to do that. Now, anyway,
Yes.
Doc Joanne, in terms of managing group interactions, ito medyo mahirap din ito during the conduct of the psychosocial activities. Now, what are some of the common situations or scenarios that we may expect to arise, and what can a teacher facilitator do perhaps to manage them? Pwede pong mag-cite po tayo ng possible strategies on how to handle the situations po, Doc Joanne.
Okay, salamat sa question ka DepEd Rada. Okay. Managing group interactions can be sometimes challenging, but there are some common situations and what facilitators can do to manage them. So, I will citing a little bit mga around 6 lang ka common situations during the conduct of certain kanang mga activities, no, group activities. First and foremost, especially kay new pa nga mag face-to-face ang atong mga learners, it is expected na tension would arise. So naay tense nga atmosphere that would arise in the environment that they will be experiencing, no, kay limited with the 2 years nga they only stay at home. So possibly if you are the teacher facilitator, there is a need, if you sense nga naay tension nga na-experience ang imong mga learners in the conduct of the psychosocial activities, then it is very important that you as a teacher facilitator may use a certain icebreakers or humors to break the tension. Second, you remind the students or the learners that there are no right or wrong answers and all answers are acceptable, so that the participation rate of the students in the said activity will be enhanced, and they will be encouraged nga mo express sila even if inani akong na feel, so dili na mo sila i-question more. So masense gina, so sensitive enough dapat ang ato ang mga teacher facilitators. I know and I believe they can do it. Second, if during the conduct of the activity you notice nga less ang participation or no participation among the learners, kay nanibago sila, kay bago pa gyud nila na meet face to face ang ilahang mga ilang mga classmates or si teachers. So probably sometimes we need to silence ourselves. So silence is also an effective way to get people to talk. Basically, after si teacher facilitator would ask questions, just stay silent and someone might speak out at the end. So, di ba, makabreak man sometimes ang silence kung naata sa group discussions or facilitations. And during that particular moment nga na ay non-participation of the students perhaps, you can paraphrase the questions that you raise, for example, so that they will be encouraged nga ang katong mga silent nga participants would think and would talk. So ma-encourage sila on that particular scenario. Another thing, kung during sa discussion, this is the opposite kung non-participation, kung naapoy mag-monopolize, kung naay monopolizer sa inyuhang klase, of course, diba, we have students who are waiting, kanang confident yun kaayo in terms nga mo express nga inani ko teacher, inani ko ma'am, so on and so forth, nga tanan questions ni teachers siya gyud mo volunteer naman gid yung mga personality wise nga mga students inana. So try as a facilitator, some strategies that you would employ is when you ask a questions, direct your attention to or call the other students so that you will encourage also those who are silent to speak. And then you need to necessary to point out in the session nga tanan is given the chance or all of the students were given the chance to share their thoughts and ideas and to express their feelings with regards to the topic that is being presented. So para at least walay mo monopolize nga kanilang siya permi. So ikaw sensitive po ka nga facilitator ana no. Kay ang mahitabo sometimes kung sige lang nimo siya tawagon kay siya ang ni volunteer, dili na ganahan ang uban ay siya raman permi. So at least para tanan na ay chance to speak up. Dayon, if and only nine incidents also, like for example situation during the conduct of the psychosocial activity, you notice nga some of the learners or students are sleepy, na bored, or feeling tired, unsa man ang buhato nako as a teacher facilitator. So probably you have to be flexible enough nga i-change nimo ang activity. Actually, since na-mention ni Sir Richard nga na prototype, but the teacher facilitator could really be flexible nga iyang makontextualize depende unsay mood, unsay kanang status or state sa iyang mga learners during that time sa pagkandak niya. So pwede niya mo change kung kanang creative enough siya. So this would be a challenge also nga ang creativity nimo as a teacher nga pwede ka mo shift. Kung nakita nila nga boring man nga inani nga style ang pagkandak ni teacher nga na bored, dili ka interested ang bata sa pagkandak nimo sa psychosocial activity no. So I do hope nga dili na mahitibo kay lively man and participative man gid ang mga psychosocial nga activities ginahatag nato. But if that happens also, you need also to shorten the time span para at least ma-divert nimo, makita nimo pwede ka mohimo og another possible strategy or technique, but you still stick to the objectives of that specific activity. And also, naay mga instances, another situation ka DepEd no nga naabitaw mga subgroups. You group your students nga mag-create sila og groupings for that specific psychosocial activity. So sometimes it is also important for the teachers to encourage the students nga i-rearrange nimo sila into subgroups nga dili sila familiar with each other, like classmate na sila daan dayon karon mag face to face na ay nasagol nila. So imo na siyang tan-awon daan nga kinsay ga classmate daan para at least ma-encourage nimo nga they will get to know each other and they would know each other well so that in the process of the activity mas productive sila, maka-express sila. Although kung familiarity, sometimes usahay na ay mga instances pod no nga dili kayo mahimong effective. So kani isa ka way nga tanan has the chance to get to know each other. And naay another instance also na naatay gitawag nga private conversation na mahitabo among our students, no? So you have to encourage nga we see to it na we need to encourage although mag-observe man tag physical distancing sa atong mga learners, no, but sometimes na activity nga kinahanglan so kinahanglan po nato sila i-group into a close circle but observing pa rin sa physical distancing. And also as those having private conversation, if they want to share, kay na may uban na bata nga manotice na to while we are doing the activity, kanang nag-group sila, naghunghunghung, na dili nila i-share sa klase bitaw. So ikaw as a teacher, be attentive enough nga during the facilitation of the activity, manotice nimo na yung nana, encourage nimo sila nga, I think you have an idea, would you like to share it to the class or to the group para at least malisten po na mo or ma-hear na mo sa inyo ang gistoryahan din na. But in a nice way na to ang pag-approach, no? Dayon, uh, certain situations are expected to arise. Example, conflict arguments for a particular topic. Nga lahi ang idea or ang response sa isa ka group of students, lahi po sa isa. So, unsaon nato pag-manage ang kani kung kita si teacher facilitator nga nag-conduct sa activity. So, we have to avoid taking sides, no? Don't side with any one of the participant or sa listeners. And we need also to acknowledge their perspective. So tanan nila tanaw na to. And we need to remind our students or learners that there are no right or wrong answers again and again in the psychosocial activities and that they can agree or disagree. Constructive lang ang pag-take nato sa mga ideas and opinions of our classmates para walay mahimo nga favor ka ani tungod inani ang idea kay ikaw po nga teacher facilitator ni uyon ka, so you don't have to take sides but you have there as neutral lang imuhang paghandle sa ilaha. Encourage them to speak up, to express their ideas para open siya sa tanan, both sides, positive man or negative man ang ilang opinions or ideas about the certain topics or ideas. And also, another situations or scenario that are expected to arise is what we call participants during or students during the kanda. Kaganina naman tingo na mag-silent, sleepy, bored, or maghilom-hilom. Na ay instances, di ba, na naman tayo mga gadgets, na we can't avoid na ay mga students na magkapot og cellphone, mag-text-text while you were doing the activity. Mana ay, sumhan naman ani si paminaw kay perhaps nag-conduct na ang mga guidance counselors sa ilang schools, teachers ahead of time, virtual lang or through Google Meet, ang mga about mental health, resiliency, so on and so forth, no, nga mga activities na pagkuan niya, nabalik na pod nga activities. So, feeling niya, di na siya mag-text-text siya. So, if you notice, na mga inana nga learners, it is very important at the beginning of the activity nga naa kay iset nga rules or norms to observe for the students para they will be guided and they will participate nga walay maghimo og mga unnecessary nga movement or behaviors or actions. Tanan ang attention mo focus didto sa inyong gi-discuss nga activity or topic. And lastly, during the session kani bud siya no mo occur gid ni sometimes especially kung sensitive nga mga issues or topics ang i-discuss during the psychosocial activities na ay instance nga ang atong student or learners would break down. What does it mean, Ma'am Jo? Kung unsa mo break down ang atong mga learners. Meaning to say, na ay instance nga they would cry, a person would cry because na-carried away siya sa situation na nadala siya because of the experiences nga iyahang naagian. So, it is very important, you as a teacher facilitator nga, you would allow that particular learner or student of yours to cry, extend ka, muhatag ka sa iya og tissue or you comfort him appropriately, no? If crying, for instance, is prolonged, amrag ni bako na gyud siya kay nadala, so naapod na siya skills dapat natun-an nato, no, kung naay mga sensitive kay sa guidance and counseling, careful man ta, no, nga mo handle with it comes to emotions. But naagi ubang bata nga sensitive nga nadala siya sa experience, perhaps taking into consideration nga na ay one of the members sa ilaha naka-experience of COVID that time na nakuan sila. So, pag-relate ninyo sa topic inana na-recall niya ang experience nila nga, uy, nakadlok sila to na fear, anxiety nga, if wala to naka-recover ang one of the family members, so ma-recall niya. So, kung prolong crying na nga, pag-share niya, it is very important na pwede nimo ang particular students, no, pwede nimo siya hinay-hinay i-pull out sa group, no, ibutang nimo siya kung naay with the help, kung naay co-facilitator, for example naay kanang non-advisors nga mo facilitate og tabang sa particular nga session sa isa ka class. So, pwede sa to nimo katong particular students nga na affected or na emotional during that particular session, pwede sa nimo siya i-pull out sa classroom, i-place nimo siya into another room perhaps na naapoy someone nga mo take care sa iya, ha. And as soon as na-relieve na siya, na okay na, pwede na po mo siya ipabalik dito. And of course, katong nabilin ng mga students, di ba, mag-anak, quote-unquote, sorry to use the term, but mo manay nagamit nato sa ino nga mang marites man ang uban nato nga mga students, di ba? Term na nagigamit doon, mga language na sa tuang, no, karon na, ina na nga na, unsa man to siya inana. So, of course, you as a facilitator, anang activity, you should always encourage your students nga confidential tanan, dili entitled siya ang katong nga particular classmate nila nga inato yang madraw nga emotions, kumbaga ana nga particular nga moment para at least ma-pacify din ang tanan pod, kanang ma-encourage sila nga ay dili day normal na di ay nga makahilak ko, kami lang siguro marag strong enough nga wala mi na affected, but sila normal nga na ay feelings ma-draw out nana. So i-process siya kung dili makaya ni teacher, then pwede na niya ma-refer sa guidance counselor nga mo follow up nga unsa pag another issues and concerns nga gidala day ang particular nga bata para ma-help nato siya in the process. Okay. I
Ayan
think
po.
kanang
Well,
ako share.
thank you very much, Doc Joanne. Ang ganda po ng ang gaganda at saka very meaningful po yung mga na-share niyo po sa amin. Anyway po, babalikan po namin kayo para po para sa inyong presentation. I believe you have a short presentation in a while. But
Yes
bago
po.
po yan mangyayari at kadepedrada, shout out muna tayo sa ating mga viewers ngayon. Ayan, Direk, sino-sino ba ang mga ito? Tingnan natin.
Yes, partner.
Ayun,
Saan ba tayo maghahanap? Ayun.
Deped El Salvador. Maayong adlaw, Kadeped Paulo and Kadeped Rada. Thank you, Ma'am Jade, for watching. May update si Ma'am Jade mamaya. Ayan. Siyempre, kay Direk Ralph Simon, good morning, BigaTEN DepEd, watching while on my way to Davao. Nako, ang daya mo, Direk, ha? Wala ka ngayon dito. Siyempre, kay Sir William Coles Agumana. Thank you, Sir Epps. Good morning, everyone, watching from Deped Regional Office ng CLMD. Nako naman, siyempre, kay Rando Estaniero Munsalo, ayan. Thank you, Direk. Good morning po, watching here at Magsaysay National High School, Magsaysay Lanao del Norte. At wala naman po kay Dean Ann, watching from Lupang Elementary School, Clarin North District Division of Misamis Occidental. At mula naman kay, ayan, nako, walay pabor-pabor sa akong igsoon, watching from Baltimore, USA, Grace Abrera Galarpe. Partner!
Yes, partner. We also say good morning to Cheryl Malina watching from Songco Elementary School, Lantapan West District, Deped Bukidnon. Good morning po. And we also have Miss Jocelyn Makatana. Good morning, everyone, watching from Malaybalay City National High School. And then we also say hi to Laura Umasas. Good morning, everyone, watching from Lugait National High School, Lugait. Be more, Miss Or. And we have Baliling Elizabeth. Good morning, watching from Dalipuga Central School, Dalipuga, Iligan City. And we also have Jo Torres. Good morning from Taglimao National High School Division of Cagayan de Oro City. And meron pa ba?
Thank you,
Ayun,
partner. Babalikan natin yung mga viewers mamaya. At syempre, ngayon naman, para sa ating pagpapatuloy, balikan natin si Doc Joanne. Doc Joanne, I
Yes.
believe you have a short presentation for all of us. Di
Yes,
ba,
Doc.
Doc?
Yes, Kadeped Paulo,
Yeah,
sorry.
please take it away.
Okay. So, am I audible na po?
Yes po, na
Okay.
po namin
So,
kasi narinig po
these
namin.
are just some of the slides that I will be sharing to our viewers, no, especially to our FB viewers. So, some of the slides I already discussed a while ago. So, let's move na lang siguro on the presentation with regards to validating our emotions, validating and normalizing our emotions, because this is very important, no, nga we need to know as a teacher facilitator and also as participant of the limited face to face. So in validating our emotions and normalizing our emotions, it is very important na we need to consider how we are feeling and how we are going to handle that particular emotion. So basically, with the trying times that we are experiencing, like the COVID-19 pandemic, naay upat na ka-domains nga dapat nato i-look into, and how are we going to respond this one? Be it negative ba ang atong pag-response or positive response? So of course, we also always go for the positive response in responding to mga certain issues or terrible things that would happen to us. So, for example, in the cognitive level, if you experience na you feel the world is not that good to you, or the environment is not good to you, and you feel confused, something like that, and you always blame yourself for not doing well, for not being resilient on the present situation, then all you have to do in order to divert that negative response to certain terrible situations natong na-encounter karon na sa COVID is we need to maintain a determine rather of what we are looking forward to, and we need to have that faith, that courage and optimism for us to be able to be resilient sa mga panghitabo nga nasa atoa. In terms of the emotional domain, because of the experience that the participants or each of us are going through with this situations that we have, it is very important nga we need to be mobilized and also to feel involved in whatever activities nga naay gi-provide sa ato, especially nga we are so thankful in the DepEd, no, nga despite sa mga challenges, still ongoing ang atong classes with the module online, and now the expanded face to face nga atong itandak. So we need to be mobilized and be involved in whatever activities nga i-engage nato. For the social type or aspect naman, if you feel tired and you feel nga dili na maayo ang akong pamati karon na situation, then it is very important to seek out others who can help you and also help others who are in need. Bali murag kanang ang important thing here is we need to reach out, and we should not feel kanang ashamed to speak up and to share whatever concerns or issues that is bothering us. And lastly, sa psychological nga domain, if you are experiencing or physiological aspect nga domain, if you're experiencing a sort of headache, mga tension, stomach ache, or difficulty in other parts of your body, then we need to boost our energy, to increase our energy by being doing things that could keep us alive and moving. So engage in activities na ma ma-boost ang atong physical nga body, kumbaga. So ang uban will resort to Zumba, na ay mga daghang things nga dapat nato buhaton. This is way of kanang responding to difficult situations na we are into. Okay. So in next slides, ma'am. So as a facilitator, we need also to know how to validate the feelings of our kanang learners as we journey in the limited face to face, no. So naay mga tips on saon man nato pag-validate ni siya, ma'am. So self-validation is very important. Dili lang si facilitator but also the concern nga students or learners. When we speak about self-validation, it is accepting your own internal experience, your thoughts, and your feelings. So, validate your thoughts and emotions will help you calm yourself and manage your emotions more effectively. Meaning to say, if you feel tired, if you feel kanang nervous, worried, then it is very important nga ma-acknowledge na nimo para at least on the process later ma-identify po sa kinsa mo extend sa imo og psychosocial help or support matabangan ta nila, no. Acknowledging our weakness, our concerns is very important muna siya ang gitawag nga self validation sa ato kay lisod man pod nga if we experience nga I feel tired, I feel anxious pero dili kay nimo ipa inconsistent in terms sa imuhang giistorya o ang imong behavior nga gipakita. So it is very important nga na ay consistency nga makita nato. So as a teacher, we need to really sensitive enough at the same time be vigilant and alert to identify those students na ang ilahang say nga okay ra ko ma'am, resilient na ko ani, naka-adapt na ko, but pagkita nimo sa ilaha murag dili man siya nag-jive, inconsistent man ang iyahang what he or she said, but sa iyahang lihok dili man siya mao. So dapat naatay inana, self-validate nato siya. The next one is self-validation also is accepting our internal and your thoughts and feelings. Murag dayon, validating your thoughts and emotions will help you calm yourself and manage your emotions more effectively. So there are around 6 nga steps, I think, sa validation. Next slides. So, na-mention ako earlier, if you validate yourself, it will help you accept and better understand yourself, which leads to a stronger identity and better skills at managing intense emotions. So, in psychology, pinaka-importante gyud nga dili ta mag-deny unsa ang atong tinuod nga issues and concerns or emotions so that if we need help, dali pud ta ma-relieve pud dayon, dali pud ta matagaan og assistance. But by nature, there are individuals who keep on denying na okay lang ko, okay lang ni, pero deep within sa ila na aday sila mga gina-experience pod nga dili maayo no nga dili maka-help sa ila. So, importante gyud sa ato itself nga we validate that one. So, sa validation, basically, you have to acknowledge and accept also another's thoughts, feelings, or experiences. Neither agreement with nor approval of what the child or the student is saying, nor it is encouragement, reassurance, or praise. So basically, kung ikaw si facilitator, dapat dili ka mo sensitive ka and you need to look into deeper unsa gyud ang gipagdaanan sa bata para makaingon ka nga kani siya adjusted na ni siya or kani dili pa ni adjusted na individual. Okay. So validation also take note, it is not excessive permissiveness or reinforcement of bad behavior. So wala ta no. So take note lang ta nga sa validation ato lang din nang gi-cross-checking. Pareha gud na nang mag-validate ta sa ato ang mga tools na ginagamit when we conduct research. So ani kanipod kay sensitive man siya, we are dealing with emotions and sometimes emotions would vary and would change depending on the environment o kung saan gipagdaanan sa isa ka individual. So, here are the levels of validation. Number 1, always be present to be mindful of your emotions without pushing them away. So basically, i-acknowledge gyud nato kung unsa ang atong present nga condition situation in response to the particular incidents. So kung na-feel ka nga, you feel awkward nga mo attend sa klase sa limited face-to-face na nakita na ni teacher, then at least imong i-acknowledge na sa ato ang mga learners na they should be mindful of what they are feeling para at least makita nato, matabangan nato sila. Second, accurate reflection. It is acknowledging your internal state to yourself and labeling it accurately. Perhaps you reflect on what triggered the emotion and when the precipitating event occurred. So reflecting means observing and describing. That is one of the components of mindfulness. No? Dayon, the third one is guessing. Sometimes, you won't be sure what you are feeling or thinking. So, na ay mga instances, ana. So, in these situations, you may want to say something like, if someone else were in this emergency situation, they would probably feel sad. Am I sad? So, murag dili pa kay ka certain sa imuhang present na situation. So, sometimes you are in a sort of guessing your real emotions or state. So, during the psychosocial activity nga i-conduct ni teacher, perhaps dapat tan-awon niya, he or she has to need to look into the responses sa iyahang mga students para at least ma-validate niya unsa ang ilang tinuod nga emotions. Another thing is validating by history. Sometimes we will have thoughts and feelings that are based on events that have happened in your past. Maybe you are afraid when people argue because in the past, arguments lead you to your being heard. So, na ay mga situations, that is why katong conditions ganina or situations na gipakita na ko nga, when conflict arise, na ay lahi of response ang atong mga learners no paghandle. So try to be very sensitive as a teacher facilitator nga ma-validate na to, matan-aw na to wala ba ni mga history ang atong learners in terms nga na-experience niya ba nga ma-record na pod nga wala pa siya totally na healed for that particular incidents para at least matabangan na to ma-follow up. And number 5 is normalizing. Sometimes people who have intense emotions don't see any of their emotional reactions as being normal. Everyone has emotions and no one is happy all the time. So it's normal to feel sad, angry, hurt, ashamed, or any other emotions nga atong mapagawas in response to certain situations. Normal. So kung naay bata nga mohilak, like sa situation nako, normal na siya. Dili magpanik si teacher, hala, hilak gid siya ma'am. Manawag din siya, no, dapat kampante si teacher facilitator. Kabalo siya sa iyang role nga dili ma-feel nga ma-humiliated ang bata nga nihilak during the psychosocial activity that is being conducted. So, normalizing the emotions. And the last one is radical genuineness. So, in terms of self-validation, this means being your real self and not lying to yourself. It means that you don't pretend to be someone you aren't. Rejecting you are not the one of the highest levels of invalidation. So, normally, there are individuals who would say, nga, I'm already with this one, self-actualized na ko, something like that, or ang student would feel too confident sa ilahang kanang kaugalingon no that they dili nimo makita nga naay other side pud sa ila. So we should be genuine enough kay lisod pod nga pretend ta nga dili ta inana. So be yourself, and it is very important nga we really show to our classmates, for example sa mga students, and for us as teacher facilitator nga we are genuine in terms of delivering the services na gihatag nato sa atong mga learners, especially in the conduct of the psychosocial activities. Okay. So I think that's all that I would like to share to the viewers, and I hope you have gained something out of the short presentation.
Well, ayan, thank you very much, Doc Joanne. That was indeed a very
Welcome.
comprehensive presentation. Partner, baka may katanungan ka dyan kasi it's about, self-validation. I just wonder, Doc Joanne, how can this be done among our learners? Siguro sa mga teachers natin, kayang-kaya natin yan. But how about for the learners? How can they do self-validation?
Validation.
basic lang,
Ah,
mga
Thank you
strategy.
for that questions, Kadep at Paulo. Okay. Actually, for the learners to really experience self-validation, it is in the process during the conduct of the psychosocial activity that the teacher will be facilitating. Dinha mo emerge man good ang ilahang true nga mga emotional state. So, muna, it is very important for the teacher facilitator to encourage the learners to be honest enough in responding to the questions or in answering to the activities nga gi-provide sa ila so that they can draw out the real emotions, the real state na ilahang gusto ipagawa. So, ang dako og role gyud actually ani para mapagawas sa bata ang iyahang real nga emotional state or psychological state is ang skill sa pag-facilitate sa activities sa isa ka teacher. Nga gi-encourage nimo at the same time kana nga mga students dapat they would feel accepted, they would feel ang rapport that is being built between the teacher and the students dapat naa gyud strong para ma-motivate nato si students nga mo-open up. Muna, gi-encourage gyud nga there are no right or wrong answers sa ilahang mga responses para mas ma-motivate sila for doing or for sharing the real kanang situations or conditions. So, dako gyud ang role. I really believe na dako og role ang teacher facilitator nga makadraw kay if dili ina na nga for the sake lang of performing what is in the module or the activity sheets na gihatag amor for compliance basta mohatag because sad to note no in reality there are really those but dili po tanan ba nga kay additional burden sa ilahang pagkandak ani. So reality bites it's really the part of the teacher facilitator kay kung dili niya maayo pag-facilitate dili gyud ta makadraw nga ma-genuine gyud ang response nga maka-validate gyud fully ang atong learner sa ilang real nga kuan gi-experience or real nga emotions. Of course, naa gyud na mga follow-up nga questions, dili lang tataman dinha no. So dapat alert and active enough ang teacher nga mo listen sa unsay gi-share sa iyang students.
Ayan, thank you, Doc Joanne. And partner, baka may dagdag kang katanungan dyan bago natin pakawalan si Doc Joanne.
Yes, partner. Now, Doc Joanne, I believe ang
Yes.
kaning pag-implement or pag-deliver sa atong mga modules or packages is not time-bound. Dili kay ta stricto sa
Yes.
time because of course,
Yes.
we cannot expect all learners to be able or we cannot expect all our learners na pareha sila og time nga willing na sila mo
Yes.
open up. So, is it correct to my understanding nga if today naa siya interaction willing siya mo interact then we
Mm-mm.
can maybe proceed so depending yun sa unsa ang reaction
Action.
so the facilitator should be proactive and reactive at the same time
Yes.
inana ba Doc Joanne?
Yes, Kadep Edrada. Thank you for that, no, nga that idea also, no. Basically, it's not really time bound nga during the administration of that particular prototype psychosocial activities. Diha dayon nato makuha ang responses, immediate responses. So it takes time nga ma-internalize na sa atong mga learners unsa ang significance of that particular psychosocial activity that is being provided to them. So ang pagpasabot sa ilaha ana and if we encourage them to open up in a positive way then probably successful ang atong pag-implement sa ilaha and si teacher facilitator must be sensitive again and again kay kung naa siya makita nga murag something quote unquote sa guidance we usually use the term red flags no we use the term red flags nga sa responses pa lang niya even sa written responses niya din ma-validate ni teacher si teacher mismo ni validate nga murag consistent kay nani pud ang gishow nga behavior or attitude for example kay behavior is the actions man but the attitude is the way you favor things positive or negative in response to certain situations mo man na ang attitude per se so in that particular dapat si teacher iyan ang ma-monitor matan-aw na niya kay kani para at least kung dili niya kaya for that particular session ma-follow up niya or kung because of the limited time na busy pud siya pwede niya ma-refer sa guidance counselor in charge ang said nga mga students. Kung naay pareha-pareha, for example, kung mandagan nag-ina na, pwede na ipa-group guidance niya. So dito na dahil na para si guidance counselor ang mo schedule. So dili gyud tanan because sakto ang giingon ni Kadeped Rada no nga lahi-lahi man ta, we have different personalities and magdepende pod lahi-lahi pod ang atong response to certain situations. Depende pod sa atong upbringing tanan factor sa ato ang self. Especially ang atong intelligence lahi ta mo response kung ang level of intelligence sa isa ka individual is high, lahi pod ang yang level in terms of emotional nga aspect pag response niya sa situations.
Ayan, thank you po, Doc Joanne. And baka meron po kayong huling mensahe po para sa ating mga viewers, para sa ating mga learners, at saka para sa ating mga teachers. Ano pong message po natin para sa kanila?
Okay, thank you, Doc. Kadeped Paulo, sorry, mami, kuanjit ko, Doc. Anyway, so I would just like to thank Deped Region 10, to Sir Richard, si Sir RD, Bayukot, the Assistant Regional Director also, Doc Visto de Gracia, the rest of the supervisors, CID chiefs and supervisors for inviting me to be part of this BigaTEN activity of the DepEd Region 10. So I do hope that the listeners that we have right now have gained insights on how they are going to conduct the psychosocial activity. Although si Sir Richard have mentioned earlier nga, there is a national orientation come April 7, but let us work hand in hand in making the learning of our students memorable despite these challenging times, no? It is our big role as a teachers to encourage our students to be resilient in these particular situations that we are into, and we ourselves also, let us be mindful to take good care of our physical as well as our mental health, because I do believe we cannot give what we do not have. Mo gyud na siyang pinaka-importante nga kuan nato, no? It takes sa ato ang individual nga as we go through this profession, we are teachers or we are educators. So let us put sa atong minds, ang atong heart, the task that is being entrusted to us, so that at the end of the day, we can say, I've done my part, and we pray that the learners nga atong gitagaan sa ato ang services are satisfied na makita po nato nga successful sila, dili lang in terms of the academic but also the whole personality or totality nila as an individual is very important. Kay the academic, we can learn that one, we can correct what is wrong, but sa ato ang personality, it is very important, no, nga we always maintain a positive outlook in life so that we will become successful and we live happy and contented with what we have. So I think that's all, and thank you very much for the time.
Ayan, thank you once again, Doc Joanne Canieda. It's our pleasure po to have you on the show. Hanggang sa susunod po. Thank you once again. And mga Kadeped Rada, balikan po natin si Dr. Richard Dragon para naman sa kanyang pagbabahagi sa atin ng, I believe may inihandang activity sa atin si Doc Richard eh. Diba, Doc Richard?
Yes, Kadeped Paulo and Kadeped Rada, that has been a very comprehensive discussion of Doc Joanne Canieda. That is why I invited her in the field, because you know what, it's really different when we are talking on the contextualization of our implementations in the field. I can talk. I mean, I'm also a practitioner, but the experience itself when you are in the field is so different. That is why it's very important that we engage them into these kind of activities, kind of forum wherein one's expertise is also being acknowledged and recognized. So with that, Kadeped Paulo and Karada, before we proceed, maybe just a little break, just a short motivational video that we can play that everyone is experiencing right now, be it a small problem or a very big problem that you have, that to tell you this is not the end of everything. Whatever we are experiencing right now, we are not actually having an end of everything. We are to be positive with that. So let's play that video, Kadep and Paulo.
Ayan.
I want you to know that no matter where you are in life, no matter how low you have sunk, no matter how bleak your situation, this is not the end. This is not the end of your story. This is not the final chapter of your life. I know it may be hard right now, but if you just hang in there, stick it out, stay with me for a little while, you will find that this tough moment will pass. And if you are committed to using this pain, using it to build your character, finding a greater meaning for the pain, you will find that in time, you can turn your life around and help others going through the same struggles. The world right now is in the middle of a mental health crisis. It's estimated almost half the population suffers from depression at some stage throughout their life. Rather than join the queue, it's important we learn why we get down and then how we can change it. Because believe it or not, we create our own negative feelings, and we can also ensure that we turn our lives around and be a positive change for others. The reason anyone gets depressed always comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs we hold. Let me say that again. The reason anyone gets depressed always comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs we hold. The point here is that anyone that is depressed is so because there is an external factor that didn't materialize in their life. They have lost something outside of their control or don't have something that is out of their control. In school, we are taught how to get a job, but no one teaches us how to live in a state of happiness. No one teaches us how important our conscious and unconscious thoughts and associations are. Is our happiness not worth more than a job? Yes, it is. And before you say happiness won't pay my bills, happiness will pay your bills. When you realize you will be 10 times more energized, focused, and take positive action in your life, when you first choose to develop yourself as a priority and then get to the stuff of the world. I've seen some people who many would consider to have it all in their life because they thought they were not good enough. A thought, a belief within them told them they were not worthy. These people that many were jealous of, many envious of, were not good enough. You must value yourself enough to take the time every single day to work on you, to engage in something that will ensure you are a positive influence on the world. This, of course, doesn't mean life will suddenly be perfect. The same life challenges will show up, but if your mind is strong, if your mind is at peace, your reaction to the challenging times will be very different. Your reaction will be, how can I make this work? Not why is this happening to me? And then others will look to you, not with pity, but with hope. Because your strength will become their hope, their strength. You really can be that powerful. You can ditch the victim story. You can leave the pain behind and focus on how you will react next. How you will react positively. Read all you can read to get your mind in a positive place. Take steps to ensure you will be in a better position next time. Whatever pain you are suffering from, how you can ensure it won't show again. Take little steps and soon you will be at the top of the staircase. Don't give up. You are worthy. You are more than worthy. You deserve to experience how great life can be, and you owe it to the world to be that positive change for others, to inspire others who will look to you and say, he did it, she did it, and I can do it too.
All right, Kadeped Paulo and Kadeped Rada, were you motivated of the said video? I actually tried to. I really had the intention to have that played. It's supposedly an introductory video because for everyone that's experiencing a problem right now, it's not the end of the world. And you know what? It's just very timely because our learners in the field, to wherever they are coming from, to different origins, it's a different adjustment when they are transitioning to face to face. So that is why we have to address them properly and appropriately. Kadeped Paulo and Kadeped Rada, shall I proceed now?
Yes, yes. Yes,
Yes,
please.
allow me to present just a little presentation just to reinforce what Dr. Kanyeda had shared a while ago, because this is very important on what are some strategies that we can employ, the teachers can employ. Basically, to stress out what Doc Kanyeda had said, they are not just limited to the psychosocial packs that we have, but they can work around on it because they are practitioners on their own. So we'll just make it fast. All right. So are you seeing it there on your screen, Kadep and Paulo and Kadep and Rada?
Yes, Doc Shard.
All right. So keeping up in the new normal, a mental wellness check in schools. This is very important. Again, how would we describe a mentally healthy individual? Just a quick question, Kadep and Paulo. How do you describe a healthy individual? If you meet a person right now, or if you happen to encounter a person, what are your cues? What do you look for a healthy individual, mentally healthy individual? Ka Paulo?
Well, for me, Doc Shard, no, I would say that the person is mentally healthy if I see the person glowing, radiating.
Yes.
Proud,
Just
well,
like
yeah.
Kadeped Paulo, no, very blooming, and I always tell you that you look thin, but you don't really appreciate my compliment. But it's true, and that's what actually a mentally healthy person should look. Because your mental health and well-being should be expressed also physically, so that's good. How about you, Rada? Just a quick reaction on this. How do you see a mentally healthy individual?
A mentally healthy individual has the ability to laugh at his or her own mistakes and sees the good in others all the time.
Ako pang
Wow,
Miss
that's
Universe. Grabe naman yung sagot ni Partner.
very, very ano naman yan. Yes, but I would like to agree with that. One can actually laugh with his or her mistakes, but of course, you are mindful of that mistake that you are not to commit that mistake again and again. And what's very important is we bounce back. The very concept of mentally healthy individuals is that we bounce back, or the idea of resilience whenever we have problems. So ideally, mentally healthy individual have positive self attitude. So when I say positive self attitude, that could also be seen outwardly. Nakikita natin yan when they have positive self-attitude. The way they talk to us, the way we talk to others, we treat others. Self-actualization, yes. That means we have ambitions, we have aspirations in life, because if a person doesn't have aspirations or goals or ambitions, so that means the person is just stuck up with the present situation. So there is a need for us to self-actualize. Resistance to stress, very important. But of course, when we are stressed, that's a fact that should not be denied, that we are stressed, but what's important is we are coping. And personal autonomy, or personal independence with our decisions, accurate perception of reality, that we are to exist, that this is the reality, that they are learning na may face to face, but on the next week ano na naman sila, nag modules, self learning modules. That's the reality as of the moment. Adaptation to environment, when we are told to practice social distancing, to use face mask at all times, that's how we adapt, because that's the environment is telling us to be protected at all times. Now, what is the impact of COVID-19 on mental health? Because you know what, Kadeped Paulo and Kadeped Rada, if we go to malls right now, people are actually trying to get back to the normal. But it's not the normal before. It's a new normal. trying to get back into the normal, with which we have face mask, we practice social distancing, we do alcoholization most of the time. Pagpapasok tayo sa malls, we do alcoholize, nagti-thermal scanner, but we get used to it because people are trying to get back to the usual routines that we have so we could perform our daily routines. So these are actually the effects of the COVID to us, and we are aware of that. Psychological distress, reduced access to mental health treatment for others because of limited mobilities. Populations more at risk for distress, frontline healthcare workers, first responders, older adults, and people with pre-existing health conditions, children and adolescents, and women. Now, the new realities of working from home, temporary unemployment, homeschooling of children, with which we are now trying to shift it back to the face-to-face, lack of physical contact with family members and friends, and adapting to lifestyle changes. But this is a very important thing that we have to take note, Kadeped Rada and Kadeped Paulo. Before you can help others, you need to look after yourself. In the same way that a car needs fuel to drive, you need to look after yourself and keep your tank full so you can keep going. Helping the others in the COVID-19 response is a long distance race, not a sprint. So pay attention daily to your well-being. So this is also a good reminder for the teachers that this is not going to be over yet. That is why do not exhaust yourself in a daily performance, but you also have to look into yourself if you are drained already. Have a we call that self-care for self-carers, or self-care for the carers of others. Your well-being, circles of control, be realistic. So if you are seeing there is a circle inside that says I can control, but there is an outside control. So you should be realistic about what you can and cannot control. If you can, if the thing happened, so what were the things that's under your control? And if it's beyond your control, do not worry more on that. Drawing circles can help with this, and put aside what is outside your control, because there are really things that are inevitable. That's just beyond your control. So please be reminded, we have our DOH NorMin Kamusta Ka hotline with these numbers posted on the screen whenever we have problems, because there are times that we need experts in the field that could really talk to us. Feel free to that. We also have our hotline in DepEd. Anyone you have contact in your school, especially your guidance counselors, in your division office, up to the regional office and central offices. If you have a contact, you can actually be rerouted to the mental health professionals who are trained to cater these concerns. So with that, Paulo, can we have the mindfulness exercise just to break the seriousness of this activity? And I want you to also, Kadeped Paulo and Kadeped Rada, to participate. Can we play the forest forest whisper, and then let's have a short mindfulness exercise. This is somehow a meditation exercise. Now let us begin the exercise by sitting into a comfortable posture with your feet flat on the floor and your hands on your lap. Close your eyes and breathe normally. If you are not comfortable in closing your eyes, you may simply look down. Bringing your attention to your body. Notice how your body is seated. Notice the weight of your body on the chair. Inhale and exhale. As you inhale, notice how the air enters your body. Notice how the air goes out of your body as you exhale. Notice what is in your mind. What are you thinking about at this moment? Notice the sounds you hear. Notice the volume. What kind of sound is it? Now bringing your attention to your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet. The pressure, heaviness, lightness of your feet. Bringing your attention to the stomach. Is it tense or tight? Let it soften. Inhale and exhale. Bringing your attention to your hands and your arms. Feel all the sensations. Loosen them and soften your shoulders. Notice the sensations as you lose them. Bringing your attention to your neck and your throat. Are they stiff or tense? Loosen them and notice the feeling as you loosen them. Notice your entire body. Inhale and exhale. When I count to 3, you may open your eyes. 1, 2, 3. All right, so you may open your eyes. Kadeped Paolo and Kadeped Rada. So let's just have a short processing. Can we pause the music for a while, the background music? Okay, murag katulgo na maglaho si Kadeped Paolo o Kadeped Rada. Well, actually, it's a short activity that's just to have our mind and our body communicate with each other. Is it aligned? At present, is it aligned? Because during stress, when we are faced with stress, our body is not working with our mind. Paminsan, di ba? Paminsan, nasi-stress. When your mind is trying to get focused, but hala, doon lang akong talk, but nagsakit akong tiyan. I want to go to the restroom. So sometimes it's not communicating very well. Hindi sila nagko-coordinate. So that is why we have to pause for a while, breathe in, breathe out, and have your mind rest for a while para maging align with your body so that we can act accordingly and we can respond to the stress successfully. So going back to my presentation, are we having a good activity, Kadeped Paolo and Kadeped Rada?
Yes,
Did you have a good
of course.
time? Very good, very good. Let me just go back to my screen. Is my screen being shared? All right, thank you. So when we say mindfulness practice, focus only on the present moment. Sometimes we get to be very what do we call that? We are thinking in advance. That is why we are not enjoying the present moment because we are very thinking ahead of time, which is sometimes there is a disadvantage. For us to enjoy is for us to focus on the present moment and try not to be judgmental about anything you notice. And human nature, we try to be very judgmental. In fact, there is already prejudice even before you hear such thing or when you see such thing. That is why try not to be judgmental. Practice mindful breathing, the one that we did, and mindful meditation. Even that's just about 5 to 10 minutes in a day. If we you can actually have that as your siesta time in the afternoon. That would help for us to have a good balance with our mind and our body. So start with some everyday mindfulness. Incorporate mindfulness into your everyday routine. This is a good tip. When you wash the dishes after the dinner, Do you usually think about everything you still have to do before you can finally relax? Instead, try focusing only on washing the dishes. Start by listening to the sink, fill up with water, feel the warm water on your hands, and smell the dishwashing liquid. When you notice your mind wandering, and it will, bring your attention back to your senses. What can you see, hear, smell, or feel? Start with some everyday mindfulness like eating a snack. You're probably wondering how eating a snack can be mindful. The best place to start is by focusing on what you're eating rather than on your thoughts or the Netflix show you're watching. So instead of mindlessly eating that bag of popcorn and then wondering where it all went, take your time and pay attention to every mouthful. Notice the delicious taste as you chew the food, feel the textures, savor the aroma. It helps to put down your phone while you eat too. And however you choose to fit mindfulness into your life, hopefully you will notice improvements in your concentration and in your ability to relax and to cope with stressful moments and be mindful. So, just a quick run through on the strategies that can be employed by teachers and parents to reduce student stress and anxiety. I'd like also to recognize and acknowledge in coordination and collaboration with Ma'am Juvie Importante, a registered guidance counselor of the Division Cagayan de Oro City for all this. And of course, we have references for this. This is very important. How can the teachers reduce stress and anxiety, especially in the limited face-to-face that they have? So how do we reduce the stress and anxiety of the kinder students, the grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3, and senior high learners that we have? Learning and preparing to act is one. How? Basically, recognize underlying mental health challenges. Know and promote campus resources. So what do we have? What resources and facilities do we have in school? That they become familiar with the underlying mental health challenges and know how and when to refer students to school or community resources if needed. So that's one thing. Now, next is connecting with students. So there is, as what Doc Canieda had expounded a while ago, sometimes it's not just all about compliance, but there is a need that we are to connect with the students. How do they connect with the students? Use student names. The strategies for that is when they call their learners, they have to address the students with their names. Empathize with students and provide opportunities for interpersonal connection. So take steps to learn student names, such as using name tents, and connect with students to increase instructor immediacy. And use humor also because it's very important. If it's very serious, like ngayon, very serious tayo. Yeah, I would like to notice the light, the lighting of Kadep Ed Paulo and Kadep Ed Rada. Na sa kanila very light, very colorful ang kanilang screen. Sa akin bakit maitim, or is it just my color? Is the camera telling the true the true complexion of mine? But anyways, that's just to insert humor because it's good. It's good to have appropriate humor to promote a positive classroom atmosphere. Para naman our children would also have a fun learning. Building an empowering atmosphere in the classroom by having by shape active learning strategies to minimize anxiety, or shaping active learning strategies to minimize anxiety, and be deliberate when forming student groups. So that is why we have the psychosocial support packs. We have those sessions facilitated by teachers. So we will check kung ma-minimize ba ang anxiety, or after those activities, andun pa rin ang mga anxiety na nafe-feel ng ating learners. And create an inclusive and equitable classroom. Choose words carefully. That's how to build and empower an atmosphere in the classroom. Now, to reduce, there's what we call as reducing testing anxiety. What is reducing testing anxiety? Reduce or modify high-stakes testing. Build in alternate means of assessment to reduce high-stakes tests that lead to high anxiety, or modify the structure of exams to lower stress. Because sometimes it's the exams, it's the assessments, or it's the quizzes that makes them stressed or anxious. Perform classroom interventions right then and there. And promoting effective academic skills. How do we promote academic effective skills? Instill effective study habits and time management skills. Use metacognition, or activities that are actually actually getting self-awareness of the learners, promote a growth mindset. So this is very important. So those are some strategies that they could employ. And just to remind them, Kadeped Rada and Kadeped Paulo, to reinforce everything that we have been telling them this morning, we have a national orientation on the conduct and facilitation of psychosocial support for learners on April 7, 2022, 1 to 4:30 p.m. Live at Deped Philippines Facebook page. So that everyone, every teacher is guided, and even our parents and all of our DepEd stakeholders are invited for this, because whether we like it or not all are actually coping very well. There are really people, be it a learner, a parent, a teacher, or a DepEd staff, or someone in the community that is not coping very well with the new normal, with our new scheme of the limited face-to-face classes, and we have to address that. So before I will end my presentation, it says, according to the Secretary General of UN, Antonio Guterres, we are in this together and we will get through this together. Thank you, Kadeped Paulo and Kadeped Rada.
Ayan, thank you very much, Doc Richard. Partner, baka may hirit ka dyan, baka may gusto kang itanong o di kaya idagdag, partner?
Wala naman, partner, pero gusto lang kitang imbitahan, kaya sumama ka na sa amin. Rope Flow Philippines, live in the movement, live in the moment.
Grabe yung hugot si partner. Anyway, once again, thank you very much, Dr. Richard Dragon, our regional nurse, at pati na rin kay Dr. Joanne Canieda, ang ating registered guidance counselor mula naman sa Schools Division of Iligan City. And, ayan, once again, thank you very much po sa inyong dalawa, Doc Joanne and Doc Char. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat. Ayan, so partner, shoutout muna siguro tayo, direct. Kaya pa ba ng oras natin?
Meron pa ba?
Sige. Mula kay Lizel Diaz Moreno, good morning, watching from Taguluan Central School. At mula naman kay Jocelyn Pondoc Zamora, good morning, watching from Tangub City Division. Good morning everyone, watching from Talisayan District B. More from Margie Lozano. At mula naman kay Maitel Israel, good morning po, watching from NCNHS Division of Malaybalay City. At kay Cheryl Malinaw, watching from Songko and Elementary School, Lantapan West District, DepEd Bukidnon. Partner?
Yes, partner. We also say good morning to Dean Ann, watching from Lupagan Elementary School, Clarin North District, Division of Misamis Occidental. And then, of course, Ma'am Grace Abrera Galarpe, watching from Baltimore, USA. And then we also say good morning to Rando Estañero Monsalud. Good morning po, watching here from Magsaysay National High School, Magsaysay, Lanao del Norte. And we have Ma'am Jade Kakayan. Good morning from DepEd El Salvador. Meron pa ba, partner?
Ayan.
And we have Junay Brett Esmail. Good morning, everyone. Ayun po.
Ayan, partner, diretso na tayo sa ating DepEd News 10 updates mula sa ating mga sangay.
And now for the headline. DepEd Malaybalay hosts National Consultative Conference.
The implementation of Alternative Learning System of Deped Division of Malaybalay City has seen its fair share of success stories in more than a decade of operation. These stories became the lifeblood, stories of hope and inspiration, and the very reason why Deped Malaybalay go the extra mile to deliver what's best for their learners. Testament to this commitment, right in this very venue, the division hosted a consultative conference highlighted by a ceremonial signing of commitment for the ALS program by a conglomerate of major key players from DepEd Central and Regional offices, as well as division office counterparts. Assistant Secretary for ALS, J.H. Ambat, explained the rationale for the activity.
of Department of Education is not merely schooling. It's not merely to ensure that the kids are back in school. I understand, ma'am, that by April, 100% of your schools will be open, mayor, face-to-face. Your students will be back. But what is more important now, as we build back better after COVID, is that your learners are actually learning. Because that is what will make them get out of poverty, what will make them really achieve their dreams and contribute to community development.
For BigaTEN sa DepEd 10, this is Rio G. Arbutante, Division Information Officer saying, we fly high in Malaybalay.
Maayong adlaw ka DepEd, as the division prepares for the progressive expansion of the limited face-to-face classes, a capacity development on curriculum management has been held here at Lohas Hotel, Lagindingan, Misamis Oriental. This is led with our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Olga C. Alonsabe, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Mr. Junicio L. Liwagon Jr., our Chief in the Curriculum Implementation Division, Dr. Ninian A. Alcacid, and with our Technical Assistance Providers. This is participated with our school leaders from the elementary and secondary level, and of course, with our partners in the alternative learning system.
In the delivery of teaching and learning to our dear Tagnipanon learners. I consider myself as agent of change. And we all know that the only constant in this world is change.
Here I've learned a lot wherein leadership is not about position.
In order to harmonize the subject offerings in the senior high school, a series of meetings has been conducted here in the division with our partners with the public and private schools. This year, we have opened 4 senior high schools to name Sinalok National High School, Himaya National High School, El Salvador City National High School, and Hinigdaan National High School for additional track.
Student from Hinigdaan National Technical Vocational Livelihood Track.
Dako kayo nga pasalamat division sa El Salvador City makaabre or makahimo sa paghatag.
There you go. You just heard the latest updates from the division of El Salvador City. This has been your news correspondent, Marie Jade A. Kakayan, saying, here in ELSA, we preciously polish each gem.
Ayan, partner, mga ka-DepEd.
Yes. Go on, partner.
Yes, partner. Maraming salamat po sa ating DepEd News 10 correspondent na si Sir Rio G. Arbutante mula sa Sangay ng Lungsod, Malaybalay at kay Miss Jade Kakayan mula naman sa Sangay ng Lungsod, El Salvador City para sa DepEd News 10.
At partner, balikan lang muna natin yung partner, yung pictures natin kanina, yung feature natin sa DepEd NorMin, yung for the win, Depd NorMin. Yung, ayan. Direct yung mga nanalo kanina para kahit paano ma-feature naman natin sila. Ayan, eto yon mula sa halos 30 kalahok, 12 ang kwalipikado at maaring magkamit ng Gawa at Dalumat Best Science School-Based Student-Led Publication. 2 sa kanila ay mula sa Region 10, ang Misamis Occidental National High School, mula sa Oroquieta City at ang Maigo National High School mula naman po sa Lanao del Norte. At ito pa, yung sa 2022 National Robotics Coding Camp, tama, ang wagi rin ang Rehiyon 10. Congratulations to teacher coach Chris T. Sagarino for winning the gold medal. At saka yung, syempre yung mga bronze awardees naman na sina Lord Aaron Villaruz, Antonio Tomas Luisma, Pia Marie Nonieza, and Chris Jefferson Mina. Kasama rin bilang mga kalahok, sina Natalie Sheena Mainara at Maria Erica Codisar. Once again, congratulations and thank you for raising the Deped NorMin flag. At para sa ating big attention, big attendance, eto partner, para sa ating Deped press release, Deped allows physical end of school year rights for schools in alert level 1 and 2. In a press release on March 25, the Department of Education is set to allow physical end of school year rights in schools located in alert levels 1 and 2 areas. In the latest Edu Action press conference on Friday, the department announced that limited face-to-face graduation will be allowed for schools in alert levels 1 and 2 areas in consultation with the LGU, schools, and CLCs with strict compliance with IATF protocols. For schools in alert levels 3, 4, and 5, Depd said it will only allow virtual end of school year rights. Schools may broadcast live the virtual end of school year rights through an appropriate social media platform.
Now, schools nationwide are set to conduct end of school year rights from June 27 to July 2, 2022, following the end of the school year on June 24, 2022. Now, while private schools may implement the schedule as reflected in their respective school calendars. Now, however, schools, divisions, or regions with an extended school year due to suspension of classes shall be guided by their approved revised school calendar.
That's right. And the theme for school year 2021-2022 end of school year rights is graduate ng K-12, masigasig sa mga pangarap at matatag sa mga pagsubok. In translation, partner, K-12 graduates pursuing dream and fostering resilience in the face of adversity.
Yan, partner, may translation talaga. Now, anyway, DepEd also reminded everyone that the end of school year rights should be conducted in a solemn and dignified manner and shall not be used as a political forum, in line with DepEd Order Number 48 Series of 2018, titled Prohibition of Electioneering and Partisan Political Activity. Now, guest speakers must focus their messages on the theme of this year's end of school year rights and must be advised not to campaign for anyone or any political party. Now, schools shall make sure that no election-related paraphernalia, such as streamers, posters, or stickers, or other election-related items are to be distributed within the school premises, or even online.
That's right. And on another press release on March 28, in preparation for the upcoming class opening, the Department of Education already started the early registration for school year 2022-2023 on March 25 and will end April 30. The month-long activity aims to ensure that incoming learners are registered for the next school year and help the department better anticipate and deal with the possible challenges and concerns as stated in Deped Order Number 3, Series of 2018, or the Basic Education Enrollment Policy.
Meanwhile, the department also encouraged private schools to conduct their respective early registration activities within the same time frame. Despite the developing COVID-19 situation in the country, DepEd urged everyone not to be complacent and to follow the IATF guidelines and DOH minimum health and safety standards.
In 2021, the department implemented a hybrid setup for the early registration, remote for areas under general community quarantine, and in person for areas under modified general community quarantine. Last year, more than 4 million learners signed up in the early registration for school year 2021-2022, showing continued support of parents to learning continuity.
Introduced to help DepEd anticipate the number of enrollees for the coming school year, the early registration also ensures the right of all school-age learners to enroll and to be equally provided with quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating basic education. Moreover, it also seeks to locate, identify, and register out-of-school youth and children who are in conflict with the law, homeless, living with disabilities, living in off-grid communities and geographically isolated areas, and who were perhaps displaced due to natural disasters or armed conflicts.
There you have it, mga ka-DepEd. Another episode has passed. And finally, we say thank you to the following for making every episode of BigaTEN DepEd 10 possible. Of course, our Regional Director, Dr. Arturo B. Bayok at CESO 3, Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Victor G. De Gracia Jr., CESO 5.
We would also like to thank our guests from the Education Support Services Division. For today, we have Nurse Richard, Dr. Richard Dragon, and we also have Doc Joanne Caneda, our Registered Guidance Counselor from the Division of Iligan City. Maraming salamat po sa pagdalo sa aming bigaten episode for today, Sir Doc Richard and Doc John. Thank you very much.
That's right. And of course, we also would like to thank DIO Rio G. Arbotante from the Division of Malaybalay City and DIO J. Kakayan from the Division of El Salvador City for the DepEd News 10 updates.
And of course, we have to thank ourselves again, partner. Maraming salamat ngayong umaga ka DepEd Paulo. We also would like to thank our very own BigaTEN DepEd 10 Creative Force. Thank you also to Mr. Carlos B. Llamas III, our Director, Ralph Simon L. Mabulay, Fatima E. Villaremo, and Clifford B. Liponhay.
That's right, partner. And hopefully, si ka-DepEd Carlos makakasama natin sa susunod na episode. Ang daya-daya palaging absent. Anyway, we also like to acknowledge the support of our staff from the Office of the Regional Director, si Ma'am Juvie Estelle and Annabel Baculio. At syempre, si Sir Elson Hamero, ang bagong DIO partner ng Camiguin. Yeah. And for the BigaTEN DepEd 10 jingle, si Sir Nick Paniares for his generosity in helping us facilitate or account for the use of the StreamYard platform.
Yes, partner, tama ka. Kailangan na magpakita ni Sir Carlos, otherwise maiivict na siya sa bahay ni Kuya. Anyway, partner, we would also like to thank our DepEd Regional Office 10 family Thank you also to the schools, the 14 schools division offices. Thank you to all our DepEd schools. Thank you to all our stakeholders. Salamat din sa lahat ng ating mga ka-DepEd. Salamat sa lahat ng nanood sa atin ngayon. And of course, partner, thank you to our learners, the heart of DepEd Region 10. Maraming salamat po.
Ayan po mga ka-DepEd, kita-kits sa sunod simana para sa lain na usab edisyon sa BigaTEN DepEd 10. Kauban ang guest who partner. Abangan natin yan. Let's make BigaTEN DepEd 10 our Tuesday habit. Kung di natapos ang ating ika-43 na edisyon sa BigaTEN DepEd 10 Season 3. Ako si Ramon Gonzalez Abrera, aka ka-DepEd Paulo, ang inyong Public Affairs Unit Lead Officer. Kaliwala sa mga pagsulay, ang pag-alagad, kanunay.
Ug ako usab si Candice Racoma, ang inyong rakista abogada aka ka-DepEd Rada, usab nagaingon sa DepEd Amihan ng Mindanao, nagkahiusang pag-alagad, nagpatibabaw. Sa gihapon, kami ang inyong kauban,
Kasaligan.
kadangpan,
Siyempre, ka-DepEd.
kadangpan.
Hangtod sa sunod higayon, kini ang BigaTEN partner.
BigaTEN DepEd 10.
DepEd 10. Atin to.
Pagsisikapan natin kamping kanilang na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Dapat Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, BigaTEN DepEd 10, BigaTEN DepEd 10.